The lives and deaths of the 12 apostles of Jesus are foundational narratives in Christian tradition. These individuals played a crucial role in spreading the teachings of Jesus Christ and establishing the early Christian church. Each apostle had a unique journey, and their lives were marked by devotion, sacrifice, and, in most cases, martyrdom. The details surrounding the apostles' travels, especially those beyond the accounts found in the New Testament, are often subject to debate and vary across different Christian traditions. Hard facts are elusive. There was little record-keeping we can examine. In this exploration, we will delve into the individual stories of these apostles based on what stories were relayed over centuries, tracing their paths from discipleship to the legacies they left behind. Peter, originally named Simon, was a fisherman when he first encountered Jesus. He became one of the closest and most prominent disciples, earning the nickname Peter or Rock by Jesus. Peter witnessed key moments like the Transfiguration and Jesus walking on water. He is perhaps best known for denying Jesus 3 times before the rooster crowed after Christ's arrest, an event that deeply affected Peter. After the resurrection, Peter played a crucial role in the early Christian community, preaching and performing miracles. Tradition holds that Peter was crucified upside down in Rome during the persecution under Nero around 64-68 AD. If he was born around 1 AD, he would have been in his mid-60s to early 70s at the time of his death. Andrew, Peter's brother, was also a fisherman. He is mentioned as one of the first disciples of Jesus. While not as prominently featured as some other apostles in the New Testament, Andrew is credited with bringing his brother Peter to Jesus. Andrew is believed to have been crucified on an X-shaped cross, possibly in Patras, Greece. His death is traditionally dated around 60-70 AD, and he would have been in his late 50s or early 60s at the time. James. He was the son of Zebedee, and is often referred to as James the Greater to distinguish him from the other apostle named James. He, along with his brother John and Peter, formed an inner circle within the 12, witnessing events like the Transfiguration. James was the first apostle to be martyred. Tradition holds that he was beheaded by order of King Herod Agrippa I in Jerusalem, placing his death around 44-45 AD, when he would have likely been in his 40s. Known as the beloved disciple, John was the brother of James the Greater, also the son of Zebedee. He played a significant role in the early Christian community and is traditionally identified as the author of the Gospel of John, 3 epistles of John, and the Book of Revelation. John outlived the other apostles and died of natural causes, believed to be in Ephesus, making him the only one not to face martyrdom. Exact dates are not available, but some traditions suggest a date around 98-100 AD for his death. He might have lived into his 90s based on this. Philip is mentioned in the Gospels as one of the early followers of Jesus. He was from Bethsaida and may have had a pragmatic approach, as seen in the feeding of the 5,000 when he questioned the feasibility of buying enough food. After Jesus' ascension, Philip continued to preach and perform miracles. Tradition suggests that he was martyred, possibly by crucifixion or by being stoned, in Hierapolis. The time frame is uncertain, but it likely occurred in the 1st century. If he was born around 1 AD, he would have been in his 60s or older at the time of his death. Bartholomew, often identified as Nathanael, was introduced to Jesus by Philip. In the Gospel of John, Nathanael expressed skepticism about whether anything good could come from Nazareth. Tradition varies regarding Bartholomew's later activities, with some accounts suggesting he traveled to India to spread the gospel. One version suggests that Bartholomew was martyred for his faith in a number of possible locations. Some traditions suggest this martyrdom occurred in Armenia, where he alternately was flayed alive, crucified, or beheaded. The Armenian Apostolic Church venerates him as one of the 12 apostles and celebrates his feast day on June 11th every year. Matthew, also known as Levi, was a tax collector before becoming an apostle. His gospel, one of the synoptic gospels, highlights Jesus' teachings and miracles. Matthew is believed to have ministered in Judea or Ethiopia after Jesus' ascension. The Ethiopian tradition often connects the Apostle Matthew with the conversion of a high-ranking Ethiopian official, who is often referred to as the eunuch, who is mentioned in Acts 8:27-39, though this passage only refers to Philip. Tradition holds that Matthew was martyred by beheading in Ethiopia. Thomas, also known as Didymus, is perhaps best remembered for his initial doubt regarding Jesus' resurrection, insisting on seeing and touching the wounds. Later, he proclaimed Jesus as my Lord and my God. Thomas is said to have traveled to India to spread the gospel, and tradition holds that he was martyred by being pierced with spears. Tradition holds that Thomas established Christian communities and built churches in different parts of India. One of the oldest Christian communities in India, known as the St. Thomas, Christians or Nasranis, claims its origin from the Apostles' mission. If Thomas was born around 1 AD, he would have been in his 60s or older at the time of his death. James, the son of Alphaeus, is often referred to as James the Lesser, to distinguish him from James, the son of Zebedee. He may have held a lower position within the group of apostles. Little is known about him from the Gospels. Tradition suggests he played a key role in the early Christian community in Jerusalem and was killed for his faith. According to some early Christian traditions and writings outside the New Testament, he was reportedly thrown down from a pinnacle of the temple and then beaten to death with a club. Another version tells he was stoned to death for his faith. Jude, also known as Thaddeus or Lebbaeus, is often associated with the author of the Epistle of Jude. He is sometimes confused with Judas Iscariot, but he is distinct from the betrayer. Tradition holds that Jude traveled to various regions to preach the gospel. According to some accounts, Saint Jude and Simon preached the gospel in Persia, modern-day Iran, and faced opposition from local authorities. It is said that they were eventually martyred for their faith, with stories mentioning different methods of execution, such as being beaten with a club or axe. Simon is identified as the Zealot, possibly indicating his association with the Zealot movement that opposed Roman rule. Little is known about his activities, but tradition suggests he may have traveled to Persia or other eastern regions for missionary work. Despite this alleged opposition to Rome, he was rumored to have been martyred in Persia along with St. Jude for his preaching of the new faith of Christianity. Judas Iscariot is infamously known as the betrayer of Jesus. He agreed to betray Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, leading to Jesus' arrest and crucifixion. Consumed by guilt, Judas later took his own life. His death is described differently in the Bible, with one account mentioning his falling and bursting open and another stating he hanged himself. He would have been in his 30s or 40s at the time of his death. The lives and deaths of the 12 apostles reflect a diverse array of experiences, from profound devotion and martyrdom to skepticism and betrayal. These men, ordinary in their backgrounds, played extraordinary roles in the establishment and propagation of Christianity. Their enduring legacies continue to shape Christian faith and inspire believers worldwide.